You can start.
Good afternoon. I'm Hannington Patrick from the Life Changers, and I will be presenting how our project went down. Our campaign basically was called the Don't Be Your Own Doctor campaign. That's the hashtag or the tagline with which our campaign was commonly known. And it was a campaign done by the Life Changers, as I said. And our tagline as an organization is a life worth living. We want to make sure that every life is worth living. Our problem scope, we found out that 64.9%, there's a 64.9% self-medication prevalence amongst university students in Kampala. Now that statistic was gotten from our literature review. We're doing some literature and we're reading about previous studies that have been done. I can't get it off head exactly, but there's one of those studies that was studying this same thing in Kampala and found out that statistic. Second, we found out that 95% of students in UCU practice self-medication. That was from our actual survey during our situational analysis. We did a survey in which we found out that 95% of the people we interviewed actually do self-medicate. Three, we also found that 95% of these UCU students have misconceptions about self-medication. By that we mean people think one thing is self-medication and they think the other is not. For example, some people think using the same dosage of medication that was given before is the same prescription rather, is okay, which is medically wrong because illnesses change, your body changes, and etc. Four, we also found out that only 5% of students seek proper medical attention. By proper medical attention, we mean at the right time, in the right way. Yeah. Moving on, this is our situational analysis, and just to show you a brief of the statistic, I said basically, and if this was our pie, you can see that 95% of it is being eaten by self-medication, which meant there was work to be done and a lot of work. Our goal, the goal of this campaign, was to influence attitude change. I tried to highlight some of those key elements, to influence attitude change towards self-medication among students of UCU by pointing them towards seeking proper medical assistance. The idea is you cannot have an attitude change in the period we had, but the idea was, again, we need to influence that, we need to trigger that feeling, trigger that, the beginning of that perception to grow in the minds of students within UCU. Our objectives, one, to incite students to seek information and services from medical personnel. That's what I said much earlier. We want students to have the zeal to now start taking it as something serious, because we found out people think it's okay. I've been self-medicating for the past 10 years. Nothing has happened. Well, we don't want people to first die before they actually do the right thing. Secondly, we want to reduce held conceptions towards self-medication. Like, I know every headache is supposed to be treated by painkillers, yet you're treating the symptoms, but you don't know what disease it actually is. It might be a brain tumor that you end up not going for medical assistance for. Our target audience, our primary target audience, was the students of Uganda Christian University. The university is big, the population is about 5,000 in the university, so for us to be effective, we could not cover everyone as primary audiences. But we also noticed that the teaching and non-teaching staff will see these messages on social media, they will see these posters, they will see these stickers and all the other media we've put up, so we considered them as a secondary audience. Our key message, and we did those four. Those were the four posters we used, because the concept is broad. There are so many things we found out that were misconceptions about self-medication. So we had those four, and we made sure that at every block there's at least each of those messages is represented. We could not just stick to one message because it was a bit broad. But our key message, yes, quit self-medication, it is not an option. That was the ideal. These are the channels we used to communicate. One, we used online media, that is Twitter, WhatsApp, WordPress. We also had a WordPress blog. We had the WordPress blog because initially we had planned to have information go onto the standard newspaper, but by press time we were not able to catch that press time. So we said, let's have a blog website where this content can be put up and people can find it anytime, even after we have gone. Secondly, we also utilize print media. Those are posters. The designs I've shown you before. We used stickers, we used flyers, and we also used the t-shirts that you see people are on that have their names on them. We also used visual aids. These are video clips and PowerPoint slides. We had planned to have content run massively, and I said, I also talked about earlier that we were planned to use a standard, but we didn't have that platform. So we decided to create a video clip, an infomercial based on, we used PowerPoint to create it that just has messages, a message that basically highlights that, and we played that in the dining hall for a couple of days so that we are able to have people just watch these things and deal with their subliminal self as they look at these things, and also as we did other content. We also did one-on-one interactions. These were basically to try and give as much information. This was like most effective because you find that when you have one-on-one interactions, you can deal with the actual problem. You're sure that the message you're giving deals with the problem that someone has. Our budget. Okay, we did 28 posters at 16,000 at total. We also did stickers, 20 pieces as well, at 8,000. We did t-shirts, 20 pieces at 150. That is inclusive printing and everything else. We also did flyers, 400 pieces at 40,000. And our total was 214,000. That's the total amount of money we spent on the project. So for the social media campaigns, this is how our Twitter looks like. But we also later decided to bring in Facebook because however much Facebook has a very heterogeneous audience that you cannot really channel down information unless you're using advertising, ads, we thought it wise to just have that platform catered for. So we used basically those two social media platforms, and those are the handles at which you can find them. But maintaining the hashtag that don't be your own doctor all through. We also had 5 days of vigorous interpersonal communication. Every day at lunchtime we went to the DH and we had a chit chat with people on these ideas of self-medication and what is not self-medication, why they should stop self-medication. Three, we also had, these are the PowerPoint slides. You can see this right here. This is part of what we're doing. You can also look here for those who can see. That one showed like the effects of self-medication. 4, we served water in the DH for 2 good days. As we served this water, it allowed us to have a kind of opportunity to talk to people and ease on the nerves because people don't like to be talked at. So having that conversation, getting for them water, it's a chit chat that at the end of the day allows someone to reflect on how they've been living their health life. 5, we also hung up our posters and distributed flyers. That is us trying to put up posters. Some of us are short, but at least we tried. We also ultimately, when we thought, how do we make this seem formal, and for us even as for purposes of practice, how do we have the opportunity to organize some sort of presser for ourselves and for our group, and we see how does the presser run, how is it run. So we decided to have a live press conference here at the e-learning center. We invited a few stakeholders and partners we are working on this with, and we had people attend. And we had discussions, we asked the different partners, we had people from Alan Gulping, we had the manager from, we had Mr. Wakisha, who is in charge of the marketing and relations, public relations here at UCU. So this is our Twitter activity. This is our engagement rate. We opted to use what comes from Twitter directly because we believe that is what is most accurate. Yeah, for again, that short period of time, we managed to garner 96 retweets, 9 replies, 285 likes, 3 link clicks, yeah, and more. We also evaluated our campaign. We just didn't stop at that. One, we used mixed methods which were employed in the evaluation process. Initially, we used a qualitative study, but for us to quantify our activity, we needed a bit of a quantitative study that brings in the figures and the numbers. We used questionnaires, which I talked about, which are quantitative in nature, and we also did interviews, which were done. Both of these were done randomly. We did in-depth interviews, but the sample was chosen still randomly. And for the social media platforms, I've shown you the data above. It was analyzed and we put it up for conversation. Now, these were our milestones. 86% was our campaign reach as per our quantitative study. We found out that 86% from our sample, of about 70 people, got this information. 62% of the students who fell sick during the campaign period sought proper medical assistance as a result of the campaign. Because we communicated the information, but the only way you can find out if someone has changed from self-medication is if when they fall sick, they do what they need to do, which is seek proper medical attention. We also formed partnerships, which partnerships have been very vital for us. We have a slot already where I will be speaking during the Health Awareness Week about a bit of self-medication and a bit of, I don't remember what the other group, and we're also doing a drama of sorts, a drama project with Alan Galpin. Then also we have slots on the social media planner of the university accounts, which they have said they will give us time to, when our messages come through, which we want to do during the Health Awareness Week, when our partners work will be running, when the whole agenda and framing will be around health. We want to have those messages run, even on the university platforms. 47% of the misconceptions about self-medication were cleared. That's another plus for us. We also got free media coverage from UC focus teams that increased their campaign publicity. As you noticed, most of our colleagues decided to go to utilize Koyo Community Hour to go and put up their messages. But we opted to do that differently in terms of news, because we were trying to see how do we make that newsworthy, how do we make it achieve traction and credibility from whatever we can make it get credibility from. This is basically our Facebook also. This is the summary of what we got from our Facebook platforms. And yes, what next? That's the big question. Now that we have finished the campaign and we expect to get good grades and go on with life as we prepare for 25th October. What next? One, we will continue our online engagements because those are already planned for. I already told you we have time with the marketing department and PR. They are going to give us slots. Two, we have the Health Awareness Week. We are participating fully. We already have media, posters and whatnot, which is there already just for that week. We might not do interpersonal communication, but those media, which are easy to use as we continue with our academic work, will be up there because, we are trying to change the attitude, but it can't happen in one day. We have articles that were supposed to be published in the standard newspaper, we will ensure they are published. 4, during the last class reps meeting, I shared the idea of this self-medication with them, and I talked with the class reps president personally, and I was encouraging them that as class reps they can take this on as their first CSR activity, so that it just doesn't seem they're just there in the university, but they're doing something. So they can take that on from us when we leave. All of this talking I have been doing is because of these people here. I hope their pictures come up. Yes, those people and these other very amazing people. So, ladies and gentlemen, from us who are the life changers, after hearing all of this and giving us whatever marks you want, remember, don't be your own doctor, because I want to see you tomorrow very alive. Don't be your own doctor when you're sick. Go to a doctor. That is the end of our slideshow, but I have a video to show us. I told you our campaign continues during the Health and Awareness Week. We have a video that we believe is going to continue rolling out all of this. And how do I get this one, Mark? it's going to help us continue rolling out what the ideas of self-medication and how to fight it. Enjoy the video.
In a world where information is a click or swipe away, many times we believe we can't be and do anything. Well, sometimes we cannot be it all.
Hi, my name is Stella. I love my Rolex guy, but when I'm sick, I see my doctor.
Hi, I'm Sunita. I love my photographer because he captures every moment, but when I'm ill, I go see a doctor.
Yes.
Some markets where things are sold illegally.
Illegally? How?
Without the notice of the officials.
There is a price point, which is why I want to.
Hi, I'm Chris. I love my lecturer because he's a moving encyclopedia. But when I'm sick, I see my doctor.
We can't do it all by ourselves. We all need a professional touch. Don't be your own doctor. Seek medical assistance.
Thank you. That's the aim of our presentation.
Question. Still the mic is here.
Thank you for this opportunity. I want to congratulate my team upon the hard work. And thank you so much, our lecturers, for the guidance.
The questions now.
Thank you so much. I was encouraged, actually. Yeah, I admit I'm one of those people who have been self-medicating, but yeah, I saw your messages. Yes, and I appreciate the creativity in your videos. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Life changers. Yeah, issues to do with life are very, very key. On Tuesday, I was talking to someone in our class, and this person, I think, has been very sick, but somehow struggling to be in class. So, and I was telling her it will not make sense that you don't go and see to get some second opinion on your health because you want to be in class and study. That wouldn't make sense if on your gravestone they write, was a finalist. So health comes first. And as in one of your presentations, you said sometimes you get headache and you feel you're sick, you take medicines without some checkups, but sometimes you could be starving, you didn't sleep well, you're stressed, you're dehydrated, and all those can be causes for headache. So it's very, very important that you seek doctor's redress. I only have a few things I noted here. You talk about 64.9, probably on slide 2. I'm not so sure. But it would be very, very important to tell us the source. So was it something like from the Ministry of Health? That's one of the things. Then, I don't know, maybe I only know few words in English. In one of your objectives, probably for your study, you said to incite. Incite has a negative connotation. Why not influence? Incite? To riot? I don't know. Then the other thing, on your visuals, I thought would be more touching to have maybe photos of the side effects of self-medication. Like when they tell us about smoking, they show you what happens to your body when you smoke. For example, when you go to the hospital, they show you how your lungs, your heart, your intestines, and there is that kind of, I don't know, that therapy, shock therapy you get. So if in one of your visuals, we had some of those photos of the things that happen when you do self-medication, probably the impact of your campaign would be more felt than it has been. Thank you.
Hey, in relation to the first question, you asked about the study, where we got that. Initially, we did research, and we read a paper by Ademola. It was done in 2017. His study was centering on understanding self-medication in universities around Kampala. He indicates KIU, MOOC, all the universities in Kampala, and that was what they found out. So that is where we picked that. Yeah. Then for the part of insight, I think initially we had to stimulate, but because of the corrections that came through with our proposal, insight was the word, and I looked it up and it was actually okay. You crossed out and put in red insight. Yeah. Oh, by the way, excited. Yes. So either way, like the whole idea of changing was different, but stimulate is the initial word, and thank you so much for that correction. For the emotional appeal, in relation to our messages, that was evidenced in the slides we were doing at the DH, because those were our audiences and we were passing on our communications to them then. So we did not think it's right to play out the whole slide here to show you the messages. The dead people or sick people, yes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for this project again. Work well done. A few observations. One, your presentation was good, at least in terms of visual appeal. Yeah, but two things, and I said this in the morning, I don't mind repeating it. This is supposed to be something that, it's a project that's supposed to help you apply everything that you studied, over the semesters that you've been here. And it's supposed to be something that's simple and straightforward. So again, when I start hearing things like our evaluation was quantitative, for us initial research was qualitative, it kind of puts one off, because when you're doing this work, unless you're doing work that requires you to actually use those terms, just avoid them. Go straight to the point and say we used questionnaires, or we did focus group discussions, and justify your choice of methods. The rest is really showing off academically, and it never pays much. Regarding your evaluation, you talked about the fact that at the end of the campaign, 62% had sought medication when they fell sick during the campaign period. Are these the same people that you had interviewed or talked to earlier for your situation analysis? They were random people. Yeah, the reason I'm asking is I don't quite see the correlation between the 2 points, the start and the end, because how do we then know that the 62 are from among the group that initially didn't seek medical attention, or that self-medicated, and now the number has gone down or gone up? I think that is something that you need to work on, but also to all of us. If you've attended any of my classes, I keep emphasizing the idea of storytelling, okay? In whatever you do, you can tell a story. Whatever presentation you have to write, whatever proposal you have to write, whatever paper you need to write, you can tell a story. And actually start off by telling yourself once upon a time, okay? And then start. And in the end, you conclude by saying they lived happily thereafter, okay? That will help you create that golden string from the beginning to the end. So you link everything together because you want a beautiful story, okay? That's what I have to say.
Yes, thank you. I don't have any comments to make. You submit your evaluation tools. You want to react?
Maybe a reaction. Dr. Namusoga asked a question about how the two elements are related: people falling sick and them seeking medical attention within the time. We had quite a number of questions, and one of those was we asked them, one, if they knew about the campaign, two, ask them a question that helps them testify themselves that I found out about this campaign, and after finding out that this campaign was there, I think you see our questionnaire. I found out about, that question is actually that I sought medical attention because of that campaign. So I think that's the strand we didn't mention, but it actually ties in because we actually asked that question.
You what next? You what next? You said that that you're going to have class reps to carry on this.
We are still under discussions. I presented it to them in the first meeting.
Yes.
People have been asked to think over it in the first class reps meeting of the semester. I presented it to them. I presented it to the president, and I asked them to think over it and see what next they can do.
Yeah, because then I'm also interested in the message that supposing anyway, okay, they agree to carry this on, how are you going to manage the information that comes out? Yeah, because that is also very important. I hope you have a strategy in regard to that.
Yeah, already we kind of have content that has been created for that, but also we were hoping to work with maybe the communication, the mass comm class reps who are already in the association, because the president himself is a mass commer, so that gives us leeway to kind of push for this to happen.